is a little bit different. So today it is at the time that the sun is in the process of setting. So it is still like slightly visible, but by the end of the video it will be pitch black like it has been in some of my videos. And so instead of letting it go from light to dark like I am doing it with half natural lighting, and I do also have my lamp on at the same time that I use. So it's a little weird because like I've never done that before, but this will let it not get dark so I don't actually have to like worry about that. So that's gonna be interesting. But anyway, in today's video I have the last poetry book once again that we will be continuing from my last reading video, which was I think the 300 subscriber video. And in that video, if you haven't seen it, I mentioned that this is the last poetry book had not finished mourning yet. A year was not enough. There was no way to grieve that quick. It felt like a blink of breath before the news of his loss had sunk in. The decor was already hung up. The guests had started strolling in. The small talk, the rush, all mirrored his funeral too much. It felt as though his body had just been carried away for the cremation when my father and his family arrived over the wedding celebrations. I am sorry this world cannot keep you safe. May your journey home be a soft and peaceful one. Rest in peace. Your legs buckle like a tired horse running for safety. Drag them by the hips and move faster. You do not have the privilege to rest. In a country that wants to spit you out, you have to keep going and going and going till you reach the water. Hand over everything in your name for a ticket onto the boat. Next to 100 others like you, packed like sardines, you tell the woman beside you, this boat is not strong enough to carry this much sorrow to a shore. What does it matter, she says, if drowning is easier than staying? How many people has this water drunk up? Is it all one long cemetery? Bodies buried without a country. Perhaps the sea is your country. Perhaps the boat sinks because it is the only place that will take you. But what if we get to their doors and they slam them shut, I ask. What are doors, she says, when we've escaped the belly of the beast? Borders are man-made. They only divide us physically. Don't let them make us turn on each other. We are not enemies. After the surgery, she tells me how bizarre it is when they took out the first home of her children. Perhaps we are all immigrants, trading one home for another. First we leave the womb for air, then the suburbs for the filthy city in search of a better life. Some of us just happen to leave entire countries. My God is not waiting inside a church or sitting above the temple steps. My God is the refugee's breath as she's running, is living in the starving child's belly, is the heartbeat of the protest. My God does not rest between pages written by holy men. My God lives between the sweaty thighs of women's bodies sold for money, was last seen washing the homeless man's feet. My God is not as reachable as they'd like you to think. My God is beating husbands are off working at the factories, make friends with all the lonely women in the apartment complex. This loneliness will cut a person in half, and you will need each other to stay alive. Your husband and children will take from your plate. We will emotionally and mentally starve you. All of it is wrong. Don't let us convince you that sacrificing yourself is how we must show love. When your mother dies, fly back for the funeral. Money comes and goes. A mother is once in a lifetime. You're allowed to spend a couple dollars on a coffee. I know there was a time when we could not afford it, but we are okay now. Breathe. You can't speak English fluently or operate a computer or cell phone. We did that to you. It's not your fault. You are not any less than the other mothers with their flashy phones and designer clothing. We confined you to the four walls of this home and worked you to the bone. You have not been your own property for decades. There was no rule book for how to be the first woman in your lineage, to raise a family on a strange land by yourself. You are the person I look up to most. When I am about to shatter, I think of your strength and harden. I think you are a magician. I want to fill the rest of your life with ease. You are the hero of heroes, the god of gods. In a dream, I saw my mother with the love of her life and no children. It was the happiness. I was the happiest I'd ever seen her. What if you split the world into pieces and called them countries, declared ownership on what never belonged to you, and left the rest with nothing? Colonize. My voice is the offspring of two countries colliding. What is there to be ashamed of if English and my mother tongue made love? My voice is her father's words and my mother's accent. What does it matter if my mouth carries two worlds? For years they were separated by oceans, left with nothing but little photographs of each other, smaller than passport-size photos. Hers was tucked into a golden locket, his slipped inside his wallet. At the end of the day, when their worlds went quiet, studying them was their only intimacy. This was a time before computers, when families in long part of the world had not seen a telephone or laid their almond eyes on a colored television screen. Long before you and I, as the wheels of the plane touched tarmac, she wondered if this was the place so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed. You can leave any comments, recommendations, requests, anything that you would like to say, and I would love to hear it. I think I just moved. I don't think at the beginning it showed that much of the microphone. I definitely had to have moved that halfway through. Okay. I hope that you